I love berry picking. Growing up in Alaska, we used to go berry picking all the time. And one of the things I really miss about not living there is we don't get to do that in the fall. But since I moved to Virginia, thanks to Tommy, I discovered the autumn olive bush. So when Tommy was like 6 months old, I took him fishing. The little guy runs off and I turn my back and he starts chewing up all these red berries. I freak out and go, is my kid about to get poisoned and die? So I look up and figure out what he ate, and what he ate was autumn olives. And this is an invasive species of plant here on the East Coast. There's these little red berries with yellow spots on them, very distinct looking, and they're kind of tart, but once they ripen up, they're not too bad, and they make awesome jellies and jams. And ever since figuring out that they weren't going to kill my child, we come out and pick them and make jellies and jams. So these are autumn olives. The berries grow right along the stems, and they have these yellow dots all over them. They're red with yellow dots. And you can see here the tree has kind of these long, smooth leaves. They grow all over in Virginia, but look at how they just go, and they're so easy to pick. So you just go like that.
Some more jam on this one.
Yeah, look at that.
Hi, Allison. Hi. So we're picking olives from our bush over here.
All right, so here's after a couple minutes of picking. So, yeah, moves pretty quick. You got some more for me? Thanks, buddy. Yeah, good job. Whoa, Nathan.
I'm sorry, Nathan, not sorry.
This is the big baskets I buy at the Korean supermarket that I use for fossil hunting. Man, I end up using these things for a lot of different things though. And they work really great for berry picking and for washing the berries afterwards. All right, so about 15 minutes of picking from one bush. This is what we got.
Whoa!
Yeah, not too shabby. I mean, yeah, really easy to pick. Take a very long time to get that many blueberries.
She runs away. And the real Nathan runs away too.
Okay. Yeah, come here guys, help me pick.
Yeah. Okay. Hi. Yeah, bucket head. Look what's going to happen to my hair.
Yeah, they grow in these clumps. It just make them so easy to pick. Look at that. Pink. There we go. Just having something big and wide, even like a trash can lid would work really well. Something big and wide just to catch the berries. So one hand you hold this, and the other hand you just kind of rip the berries off. You putting any in your bucket, or you just eating them all? Look how thick they are in here. Yeah, they are just everywhere. You get on the underside of the bush and you can just see them everywhere. Check it out, we've got wild persimmons here. The wild persimmons. Oh, these I love persimmons. They're one of my favorite fruits ever. We used to eat these in Japan. They are so good. Not ripe yet. They're gonna turn bright yellow, and you really have to time them just right. Otherwise, they're nasty. But if you get them just right, they taste like syrup and brown sugar. All right, so we had to stop for the day because it got dark on us, but this is what we've picked for one day. So feels like 4 or 5 pounds of berries. Big old batch, but I'm gonna get a bunch more. And so I'm gonna let these sit in the basket so some air will circulate around them and they won't rot on me. And pick out some of the bugs and stems, and we'll go at it again tomorrow. Okay, if you want to find autumn olives, one of the places you always want to look is on the edge of roads, on the edge of streams, and on the edge of meadows, and it's always going to be on the sunny side, the spot with the most sun. So right here, right there, boom, autumn olive bushes. So along bike paths, roads, streams, that's where you find them. Now, for whatever reason, some bushes have tons and some bushes do not. This one's just got a few, so we're not gonna waste our time with that. We want to get a lot of berries quick. Here we go, this one's loaded. Look at this, how thick these are. Holy mackerel. Tons of them. Yeah, we're gonna get a ton here. This is from about 2 to 3 minutes of picking. This bush is loaded.
There's 2 more in my pocket.
All right, dump them in there. Oh, look at this bush is loaded too. And these ones I like, these ones are juicier. Yeah, these are good. Oh, you get some? Let's see. Oh, look at that, buddy. You did a good job. Go drop those in the bucket. How you doing, Nathan? Nathan? Oh yeah, you got some. Good job, buddy. Oh, look at this. This is insane. These are good quality ones. I like. Oh, just got stung by a yellow jacket. I've seen a lot of yellow jackets in these bushes. Okay, so my little helper here decided to start throwing berries on the ground so he could squish them. Oh, naughty Nathan. Well, check that out. We picked a lot of berries. Not quite a full 5-gallon bucket full, but darn close. Look at that. That is a lot of berries. Hold on a second. I wonder how much that weighs. 27 pounds of berries. 27 pounds of autumn olives. We'd probably have 30 pounds if it wasn't for all the ones you guys have eaten and thrown. There.
Dump all the berries out.
Oh, a lot of leaves in there. Got a lot of cleaning to do. Holy mackerel. That is a lot of berries, guys. We got a lot of cleaning to do. Now we gotta clean them. We've got little bits of leaves and twigs, and there's these little tiny stems in there. There's a few rotten ones, maybe even an aphid or two. So we've got to sort all that stuff out from the good berries, and we're gonna do it with this water cooler over here. Basically, I'm gonna dump all the berries in, and knock on wood, I should be able to get all of the bad stuff to float to the top, and the berries to sink to the bottom.
That's dumped in there.
Gonna dump it in there. Watch out, you're gonna get your feet wet. There's a few floaters in here, but most of it's leaves and stems. All right, buddy, so watch out, watch out.
Okay.
See, now what we do, just take this, and skim it out.
Because the waves are starting to flow up.
Yeah, they're starting to float up, see? I just kind of got it set up like this. The hose is kind of agitating the berries gently. Stuff is floating up to the surface and then working its way down to the end of the cooler. And just kind of every once in a while move the hose around to kind of kick up some more leaves and debris. Yeah, just let that sit for a while. All right, let's take a peek. Let's do it. Looking pretty good. Watch out. Tommy, get your toys out of it. Out, out, out. Now when you eat autumn olives raw, one of the things you notice is the meat is pretty sweet, but the skin has this weird tart flavor to it, and there's a big seed in the middle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna separate the skin and the seed from the meat and the juice, and we are going to make the jelly out of the good tasting meat and juice. And we're gonna separate them by squeezing them through a cheesecloth, or if you have a food mill, that will work too. Okay, so these two pots represent about half of the berries we picked. And you see this one's boiled down and is kind of soupy, and this one's a little bit stiffer. This is kind of the spectrum of what acceptable. This is about as stiff as you want it to be, and this is about as soupy as you want it to be. Anything in between, that's fine. So we're going to take some of this cheesecloth, and we're going to use it to separate the pits and the stems and the skins from the juice. More of a slow and steady squeezing rather than a really aggressive rough squeezing. Basically skins and pits and stems. The flesh and juice of the berry is actually quite sweet. It's nice, you know. The skins don't taste so great, and they're really kind of an unpleasant flavor. And you can tell the difference at this part. I smell this. It doesn't smell very good, but if you smell the juice, it smells fabulous. So the separation process is super important. So I've done about 3/4 of the berries that we collected, and I've got about 2 gallons of juice there, and probably another ½ gallon on the table. So I better clean that up before my wife finds out. All right, so I've got a pot of boiling water starting, and I'm going to take the empty jars and I'm going to put them in there for about 15 minutes to kill off any bacteria that might be in there. If there's even a little bit of bacteria inside the jar, when you put your food in, it can spoil it and get you sick. So sanitize the jar first. These are 1-quart jars. So I'm going to measure out how much juice we have. And it's not exact, so there's 1, 11, and change. Lemon juice is helpful in keeping stuff from browning, so it'll keep the color nice. Oh, piece of poop. I turned my back to go check on my smoked salmon. Look at this mess. Oh, crap. Oh, look at this. I'm gonna get a shop vac. Not enough pectin. Okay, so the jelly is syrup. It'll be a little bit frustrating, but that is gonna make some wicked awesome syrup. Now what I can do is I can unseal the jars, dump them back into a pot, add a lot more pectin, and try it again. Tommy, are you eating all the autumn olives? Just eating a little bit. So that's one thing I can do. Or I could just leave it as syrup and put this on some crepes and pancakes, drizzle it on ice cream. Works very tasty for that as well. Okay, so after yesterday's disaster, I pulled myself together emotionally and I'm ready to get back on the horse. So I've got the last of the berries on a pot. We're gonna boil them up. And we're gonna nail the pectin this time. We're gonna do it. All right, I got the juice boiled. Let's cool it down and then strain it off. Okay, so I'm only doing 2 quarts right now because I'm so terrified of screwing it up. I'm holding some in reserve. So a 1/4 cup, put in the sugar and put it in the bowl. Then I'm going to do 1 box of the Sure Gel, the less or no sugar version. I'm gonna mix it in. By the way, it comes with instructions. And I'm gonna bring this up to a boil. And once it's up to a boil, I'm gonna mix in the sugar and the pectin, and then I'm gonna bring it back up to a boil and add the rest of the sugar and let it boil for 1 minute. And then I'm gonna jar it. Now we're gonna add the Sure-Gel and the sugar. Okay, it's starting to boil again, so add the rest of the sugar. Now that I've added the remaining sugar, I've got to bring it back up to a boil and let it boil for exactly 1 minute. Alright, now I'm going to throw some lids on this and hope it sets up. 3 more jars, knock on wood, this one will set up. Oh. Here buddy, come here, sit down.
It looks pretty old.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, here we go. Well, check that out. Got some autumn olive jam and some fresh butter on a nice roll. Let's check that out. Here, Tom, you want a bite?
Ooh, what does it taste like? What does it taste?
It's good.
What does it taste like?
Try it out.
This was like all my own jam.
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed watching us make some autumn olive jelly. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, check out the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel. Don't forget to...
Run!
That's right.
My mouth is full.
Yeah.